Okay, I believe you. I believed you. Well, that's true. You didn't say it. I don't believe. Right. If you had said it, I would have believed you. I don't know about my sound guy.
All right, 20 seconds.
So you work till almost. So what do you do after the show? Do you do something else?
We have to do show prep and
gotcha.
production things. And
Okay.
things. But today it was meetings. The last 2 days meetings.
Gotcha. Yeah, my buddy's coming to your station.
Oh.
Kumar.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well,
I've met him twice.
Yeah, I knew you would now.
Broadcasting worldwide from Washington, D.C. to anywhere you are at BRITEradio.org. Go mobile and download the app on Google Play and the App Store and listen on social media with Facebook. Playing cross-cultural Christian music all day, all the time. This is BRITE Radio.
One God, one music, one mission to bring right inspiration to everyone. This is BRITE Radio, playing all your favorite contemporary Christian and gospel music together, broadcasting worldwide from Washington, D.C. on BRITEradio.org. Go mobile by downloading the app on Google Play and the App Store. This is BRITE Radio.
Marty and Katina show.
No, the Katina and Marty show.
Why?
Because ladies first.
I guess so. But
What do you guess? That I'm a lady or that ladies should go first?
yeah, I know you're a lady. We've been married for 16 plus years. So you're right. Ladies first. The Katina and Marty show.
Sounds good.
I'm glad you like it. Good evening, everybody. This is Marty from the Marty and Katina Show, and I am wifeless tonight. We're in the process of looking for a new van because if you're a listener of the show, you know that my wife's family's from Wisconsin, so she goes up to Wisconsin every summer, and that's about a 19-hour trip. And about 5 years ago, I realized the girls are old enough and where, it's safe enough for them to go on the road. Yes, we can debate if you still think I'm a bad father or husband, that I don't go up with them. But I don't go up with them. I do fly up and then come back later because I teach summer school. Somebody's got to work during the school year. We're both teachers. And no, we don't get paid. And the whole joke is, well, you don't get paid. But you can have a job, too, where you don't get paid during the summer. So go ahead, do it. It's one of these. But so we're in the process of looking for a new van. So she needed to do that because all week she's been helping me. I've been out of work all week. If you've been following me on Facebook, yes, I still have a kidney stone. And yes, I am medicated right now. And yes, I have been trying to drink water. And yes, I have done every witch doctor, home remedy thing you can think of. If you have one that I haven't tried, go ahead and reach out. I have tried dandelion root tea. Disgusting. I have tried. The only one that's actually really good is pineapple juice warm. I did that one. That tasted good. Then I did pure cranberry juice. That is foul. If you've ever had pure cranberry juice, that is the tartest thing ever. Like without sugar, everything. So I did that. And then the worst one ever is I did olive oil, then a little lemon, and then some water, and drank that. And then half an hour later, had to do water with lemon and apple cider vinegar. That was foul too. So I've done all those, and ate asparagus, and I pureed it, and then if you've ever had asparagus, yes, it still does smell after doing that. So it's been a week, and so if all of a sudden I just leave you and you see, it's because I feel like the stone's passing, and yes, you can feel it moving, and I can't believe that something only 2 millimeters is so painful. It's just unbelievably painful. To the point where I'm not the type that throws up. I think I can count on my hand, like how many times I've thrown up in my life. I've got a stomach that can eat anything. I've gone to Haiti. I've eaten off the streets. Oops, I just publicly announced that to people that I probably shouldn't have. But I have eaten everything and anything, never thrown up because of food, don't get food poisoning, but I was in so much pain that I just threw up. I mean, I would not give, what do you call it? Or, see, my wife's not here to help me speak because I'm A, on vacation, and B, don't speak well already, so it is going to be a whirlwind of a show. But what was I trying to say? Oh, I was saying that I would never want to give this to my worst enemy. Like all of a sudden just say, here, I hope you have like 10 kidney stones and good luck. No way. I mean, this is just so painful. And then, like, when it starts moving, it just, But I'm on medication, and ibuprofen is my favorite one. Actually, all these narcotics they give me make me loopy, and I still feel the pain. So I told the doctor today, I was like, I don't need that anymore. It just makes me loopy, and then I still feel it. Well, ibuprofen, over the counter, and that's what I'm on right now. 4 of them, 800. So that's where I am. I'm drinking water. I haven't been at work all week. Oh, I did go Tuesday, which was the worst mistake ever. But I haven't been at work, so I've been stir crazy. When I get home, I'm ready to like do stuff and everything. And so that's where I am. Like I said, the wife is away. She's looking for a new Honda Odyssey. Pray that she finds one. So the trip will be safe. I know she's wants that good peace of mind. It'll be a peace of mind for me too when they travel 19 hours to Wisconsin. So tonight it's the start of the Memorial Day weekend. So what I wanted to do, I know we introduced this song I think last year or 2 years ago. It's almost been 2 years that we've been on this show, or we've had this show. God Bless the USA. Love the song. We're going to play that now. And then when we get back from that song, we've got 2 great special guests in studio that are going to talk about Memorial Day and some other activities that they're both involved with. You're listening to the Marty and Katina Show on BRITE Radio.
Clear on radio.
He said that last time he did the way. Yeah, he did. Hands are in the way.
Still live on video, social media.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So how do you do one song and then come back? Or?
All the things were gone I'd worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
And then I got home and I was like really hurting it. And then took off Monday, felt a little better Tuesday, went to
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, it's right in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless.
This is Bright
We'll
Radio.
do football, and then I'll introduce you. Well, like I said right before break, once again, great song. Got to see him live one time at, if you're in the Washington, D.C. area, they always do a Memorial Day concert on the Capitol steps lawn, and I got to see that live one time, gave me chills. And have a good friend in-house, Spencer White. And Spencer, I just want to ask you the simple question.
Sure.
What does Memorial Day mean to you?
Well, Memorial Day was always special in my family. My dad was in Vietnam in 66 and 67, and he was in the Army, and he always made sure that we knew it was Memorial Day. We would watch whether there was an event going on downtown at the Capitol or different things like that. It was always a special occasion, but I guess it brought more meaning to me when my dad passed away. He passed away 5 years ago, complications from Agent Orange. And he actually last year was inducted into the virtual wall, which is people who have died because of the Vietnam War, but died years later. And I know my dad, if he was here right now, he'd say, on Memorial Day, don't think of me. He would say, I want you to think of my friends that were over there that passed away then. But, I still think of even on Memorial Day, I think of my dad and others who did pass on later because they gave a sacrifice as well.
Oh, big sacrifice. And I know you mentioned Vietnam War, and that's one of those wars America doesn't like to talk about.
Right.
Or some of the soldiers. Did your dad talk about it?
You know what? That's interesting. He told me, when he first came back from Vietnam, he got in a cab and, he wanted to go home to Silver Spring, and the guy asked him where you been, and he said, over in Vietnam. And the guys just stopped talking to him.
Oh, wow.
Just stopped talking to him. And it was like that. And, obviously, I can't imagine, what could be going through his mind during that time.
Right, yeah, because I think in our lifetime we've always celebrated soldiers.
Right.
And so when he came, did he ever talk to you eventually about it? Or?
He didn't talk a lot of times about specifics. There's one incident that he talked about. I'd rather not talk about on the radio, but it was really bad. But there was another one. It was really sad, and I think that this really got to me and really got to him. And I think it affected him. He had PTSD. And he helped build an orphanage in Vietnam. And when he came back stateside, he saw an article. I don't know if it may have been in the Washington Post, and his orphanage had been destroyed with kids. And that my dad loved kids. He loved kids, and that just crushed him.
And that triggered more.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then went from there. And then, so growing up, you could notice the side effects and all the issues with the Agent Orange and all that.
Oh yeah, and when let's say we went to a restaurant, he would have to sit in the corner. He would have to be able to see the entire room. So there were little things like that would go on. I don't think he didn't want to burden us with it, if that makes any sense.
Sure.
But we could see little things. And then there of course was times where he would be depressed, because I think that goes with the post-traumatic, and he would get angry. He wasn't physically, but he would yell. He would get just like a lot of people would, and I would say it would be almost like it's not him, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like a different person at times.
Now, because you've now read about the Vietnam War and you know about Agent Orange, are you bitter in your sense of like what our country did to your dad?
You know what? He wasn't.
He wasn't, so
and
you're
he
not.
didn't want us to be.
Okay.
I mean, I think, man, my dad would maybe still be here, but
Right.
He wasn't. He didn't want to be. He always taught us to be proud of our country, and he never said. I don't know that he didn't agree with the war, whether he didn't agree. So he didn't really necessarily have a stand. He felt like his country called him, and he was going to be there.
Now, was he drafted?
He was not drafted. He actually he felt like it was a calling, and that he had to be there. He knew a lot of people at the time being drafted, and it was just something he felt he had to do.
Right. And so, how do you handle it now and the holiday? I mean,
Yeah.
do you still
do the
different
barbecue
how-
like everyone else, or
Yeah, we still have fun. We try to celebrate my dad's life at different Veterans Day. We do a lot of different things. I think the tough thing for me is we adopted my daughter 2 years ago. She came to live with us 3 years ago. And I just, at those times, I wish my dad was there to meet Brianna. Because he would have loved her, and he would have spoiled her like crazy. And it just, I think that's the hardest thing to deal with.
is just the memories and all that.
But I love the memories.
Right.
To me, I'll go. My dad liked Neil Diamond. Okay, and I think Neil Diamond's okay, but I'll listen to when I hear his song, I'll start listening to it because I know that's my dad. He liked Neil Diamond.
Oh, I never met the man, and I love him now because if my wife was listening now, she knows I'm a big fan of Neil Diamond. So I never met the man, but a great man already.
Yeah.
So what if your dad was here? What would he want to say? What do you think he would say about America and Memorial Day in general?
He would say, just think about those men who gave their all in battle, because he had a lot of friends on that wall, and there's actually a picture. He was in the paper with my brother actually, and the tear was coming down not long after the mall was dedicated. And it's an emotional picture if you look at it.
Well, that was my next question, but I answered. So he did go to the wall.
Oh yes, right. He went there right when it first
and
was
would he
unveiled.
go back, or was it?
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
He did.
so it wasn't like I'm not going to deal with this and that kind of thing.
I think he didn't want to deal with issues necessarily, but I think he felt like going there is showing respect to his friends. Reading the names on the wall.
Right. Now, do you still have lack of a better word?
Memorabilia?
Yeah, and that's not the right word. What's the artifact?
Well, my dad had an Army jacket. I actually ended up getting his Blair High School jacket.
Okay.
So his football jacket. My brother got the Army jacket.
Okay.
But so my brother has a lot of the Army stuff. Since I'm a sports fan, I got that, and I got the Blair High School yearbook that has Goldie Hawn in it and Connie Chung and a lot of the celebrities.
Right. So you're more of all got that stuff.
Yeah. But my brother lets me come, and if I want to put on the Army outfit, it's okay.
Oh, and do you actually do that?
No, I haven't done it.
I didn't know if
I did when I was a kid.
Right. I didn't know if you did now and then put Neil Diamond on it.
Right.
And stuff. So, what was your dad's favorite picnic? It's Memorial Day. We talk about barbecue. What was his favorite thing?
Everything. Anybody that knows him, everything. I mean, you name it. He'd eat it. The potato salad. He loved potato salad. Just you name it.
Now, always a big debate: was he ketchup or mustard on his hot dog?
He was both.
He was both.
Yeah.
So he was the kind of guy that just.
Which is funny because I'm plain.
You are
on almost everything. Yeah.
So you're the plain Jane.
Yeah,
and
I
you
am.
didn't get that. So
he would have relish on it. He would have things I never heard of on there.
Okay, so he's one of those, but you just leave it plain.
Right.
All right. So I want to thank you for giving us that opportunity to
absolutely.
talk about.
And I just want to say thank you to all the families out there that gave that ultimate sacrifice, because I know it's difficult, and this time of year can be hard on them because they think about that. That's their loved one didn't come back like my dad was able to come back.
Right. No, I understand. And we had talked about this off break. I read an article. What would your mom or people say when you say Happy Memorial Day? You think that's...
I don't think, it wouldn't bother us either way.
Okay.
I don't think it would be...
It's not because, if you mentally think about it, it shouldn't be a Happy Memorial Day, right? But in the sense...
But I guess for Memorial Day, it is happy to me in some aspects because I remember my dad, and I remember the people that gave the ultimate sacrifice. And I guess I feel like celebrating them, so I do see that in a way. Even though I don't say that's not something I use, but I wouldn't be offended if somebody said that to me.
Gotcha. Well, when we get back from break, you just hinted on the sports piece and all that, and your dad loved sports.
Oh, he loved it.
And I think you're holding on that legacy too with sports. And when we get back, you're going to introduce the next guest we have in studio and talk about your next big adventure you're doing. You're listening to the Marty and Katina Show on BRITE Radio.
Clear on radio.
Very good. Very good.
This is Bright Radio.
If you had missed the last segment, you need to go onto YouTube or Facebook and watch it. Spencer White was gracious enough to open up and talk about his dad who served in Vietnam in the Army. So we talked about that piece because it is Memorial Day weekend here in the States. And so we wanted to just change gears a little bit because another hat you wear, and you were just talking about it with your dad, kind of where you are the sports lover and you've always had that passion for sports.
That's right.
And you've always coached football. How long have you coached football?
Well, I've coached, head coached 12 years with the Columbia Ravens, which is in Howard County.
And now you're decided to go out onto a new adventure.
Yep.
And you brought someone that on the website says founder, but you have a better title than just founder.
Okay, Brian Gehring is what we call the acting director of the Howard County Warriors. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, just want to
try not to take too much credit.
And what does acting director mean?
It means I'm not sure if I want the entire role yet.
That's right.
There's 5 of us on this group, and I don't want to, or 4. Is there 5 of us?
Yes.
And I don't want anyone pointing their fingers at Brian during this journey.
Gotcha. So, director. If once the title of acting goes down, director, that would mean that you basically the buck stops with you when it comes to operational.
Or Spencer.
Well, if he's not able to do his duties.
Why wouldn't he be able to do his duties? Spencer? What are we talking about already?
What exactly? There's already a mutiny, I can tell.
Right, and if you are watching on Facebook or other things, during the break, I found out that these gentlemen used to coach against each other, correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I have not beaten Spencer's teams yet, so I decided to team up with him. That way I'll get a win. That's my idea.
So speaking of teaming up, what exactly is the league or is the team or what exactly is the new adventure?
Okay, we are the Howard County Warriors, and our home base, I would say, is Columbia, Maryland. That's where we're actually going to practice. Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, okay. Well, I think so. I used to coach for what we called the Columbia Community Church Warriors. And they retired 5 years ago or so. And it was really the last really Christian faith-based organization in youth football, at least in the area. And so I guess in January, little inspiration, and I called all these guys the finest men I've ever met before. And we decided to try to start this journey to recreate kind of resurrect a team called the Warriors. Now we're called the Howard County Warriors, and so we started this journey, and it's very exciting. Go ahead, Spencer.
And I ever since I was a little kid, I was a fan of Joe Gibbs, so I always wanted to be a coach as a kid, but I also wanted to start my own youth football program. I'm a kid at heart, love kids, and I thought that would be great. I had a great time with Columbia Ravens for 12 years, and I'm still a fan, unless somehow we were to play them in the state playoffs or something. No, but I loved my experience there. But last year was the last year with the group that I took up. They are going on to high school.
Okay.
So I decided,
it's a good break.
That's right. Well, Brian came to me and he said, you know what? How would you like to, start our own organization? And my first thought was Columbia Redskins. That's what I wanted. Unfortunately, I'm the only Redskin fan of the group.
Yeah, have you ever seen his?
But at least you got Warriors.
We got what? Do you know why we got Warriors?
Why?
There's 2 reasons.
Okay.
Of course, we got because CCC Warriors, of course, were in Howard County. They're based out of Howard County, and it's already known. But another reason is we have a number of jerseys that say Warriors on it. So look, money is tight when you're doing something like this.
and if you read Joe Gibbs' book,
mm-hmm.
he I think it's Fourth and Gold, which is his first book, where he talked about a lot of Christian beliefs that he brought into head coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So is that another reason why you set this piece up too?
One thing, and I think Brian can agree with me, because Brian actually did coach with me as an assistant coach for 1 year.
Right.
And we had a number of experiences that weren't so pleasant, and mainly with parents. I had a parent waiting for me in the parking lot. They had to have security, help bring me out. We had another, parent get in my face because, we weren't doing the correct job, apparently, and different. I had a mom my first year. This is really true. It was a mom spit on a referee.
Okay.
And I don't think people even realize how bad parents can be now. And I guess I felt like, one thing I would like to do if we started a Christian organization, have a little say in it and be able to mentor these kids, be able to meet with the kids, talk to them, let them know right and wrong, and go from
absolutely.
there.
Yeah.
And I think also now with it being open that it's a faith-based / Christian team, then if you pray with them or you do other things, it's like they knew what they're getting themselves into. You don't feel like you have to, quote, hide it.
Right, absolutely. So when the Warriors folded, I coached with some other organizations, and it was oh gosh, don't you dare pray with the kids, and and we really felt that there was a huge need in the community, that things have coaches are saying, I mean, parents are tough, coaches are. We want to model good sportsmanship, good character, good Christian values, and so we're excited that we're just putting together one football team this year, a middle school team. So we're hoping to get more athletes, to really set a tone that this is we are different than anything around, and we want to really, demonstrate as men the Christian values to the youth as well as to their families. So we want to minister not only to just the athletes, but the whole community that will develop.
So is there, obviously besides coaching, what else, is there other tiers to organization?
Absolutely, great question. So we kind of are trying to meet actually three different things. So one, we're going to give some academic support to those athletes who want it, not necessarily because they're doing poorly in school, but because we can give them an advantage to applying for high schools, private schools that they want to go to, prepare them better for college, those types of things. So that's one of our
And
tools.
you're a teacher.
I am a teacher, yes.
By trade, so that would help too in the
Perfectly.
academics piece. Perfect.
Yeah, so and then our second piece is we call it courage, commitment, and character, but it's really a kind of so we're going to be different in that we're going to practice a couple days a week, and our third day a week, usually teams practice 3 times a week. Our third day is really a character building day, so we're going to have a youth pastor who's on our team who's actually going to teach lessons with the kids.
Awesome.
Go through, so it's going to be a really, really unique touch. We're excited about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where did we learn that from, Smack? We attended a workshop. I think.
We should mention the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. They call the 3D coaching, and
Right.
we went to their clinic, and it was amazing. It just was amazing what these
Inspirational,
people were doing.
Yeah, it's just really special. So we're really going to use that as a model for our coaches as well. And then did I cover all 3 teams?
No, you did too.
Okay, so I did courage. Oh, and the other part, I have an intimate relationship with Special Olympics. So I have
cool.
I have another nonprofit that I helped found. We are intimately associated with Special Olympics.
Right.
So one of their big programs is a flag football program. So our plan is to get the kids, the older athletes, involved with what we call unified sports, and that way they actually can play in a game with as a regular athlete with special athletes who are designated with cognitive disabilities. And so it's really exciting that we'll have this little partnership. There's lots of teams in Howard County that do this as flag football. And so that's the other thing. We want to bring service to the kids. So that's just one piece, Special Olympics, but we do a lot of other service activities. And we want to give that to the kids as well. So we're really trying to build the entire student athlete, basically. Go beyond what other programs do, that it's not all about wins and losses. And I think Spencer is really smart.
We do, and let me say this: we like to win. We like.
Who
to win.
doesn't? I mean, that's not.
Well,
there's nothing wrong with that.
It's not going to be something where we don't want to lose sleep at night, because I got to tell you that there's been. I mean, it's been stressful the last 12 years at times, because I do. You feel that stress, you have to win type of thing, because from the parents you feel that mentality, and some parents will get upset because I like, and I know Brian's like this. We like to play everybody.
Right.
Well, there's some parents that feel like, hey, this is a competitive, and it is a competitive league, that certain kids should play the entire time, and maybe a couple kids come. I want everybody involved, and you can find places for people to play. You can, if somebody's maybe not a great tackler, find a way to have them blitz.
Right.
There's little things you can do to incorporate everybody and make everybody feel good.
And what I think is nice about this, you're letting everyone and the parents know ahead of time this model. So
Right.
it's like all of a sudden, if you're not practicing on that third time, they know.
Right.
And it sounds like, you were telling me earlier that you were telling someone that you might, just because this player didn't want to play, but because of the program, it sounds like you're getting people that are excited about this.
Well, yeah, we've had, the funny thing is that, so we're in Columbia, Maryland, and we've heard from a lot of people that actually want to do it, but they live too far away. We're getting that a lot.
Nice.
I've heard from a number of players that are considering it, and actually tonight we think is our first verbal commitment.
Is our first.
Well, I didn't hear. My neighbor heard it, who's also a coach. His name's Trace. So hopefully he's a quarterback,
right?
And hopefully we got the commitment.
Which is kind of interesting. Have you thought about it, bringing it kind of, lack of a better word, out of the suburbs and into more like, or go further north into Baltimore or into like DC or anything, the way the program is, or just want to grow it there and then see where it goes
think,
on?
we both live in the area. I live in Columbia, and Brian lives in Laurel, and a lot of the guys live in that area. So that's why we wanted to have it in that particular region.
Gotcha.
So now we love people from everywhere, of course.
Well, that was my question, is technically, do you have to be a Howard County resident
Nope.
to? So if a parent really just is listening right now and says, I love this idea, my child needs this, and it's 2-hour drive, but I'm willing to do that sacrifice, that's fine.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the name is just because where you're based. It's not like where certain leagues you have to have, they have to be born here or within the
zip code or whatever.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
No, okay. Well, when we get back, I want to ask you some more questions about the spiritual aspect of it. Okay. So you are listening to the Marty. I caught myself. My wife would be impressed. You're listening to the Marty and Katina Show on BRITE Radio.
Clear on radio.
Yeah, this.
I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only. Forever worship you. I can only imagine, yeah. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? Or to my knees will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. Yeah, I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will
This is Bright Radio.
I always do that. I was drinking right when I got the sign of it's time, but hey, kidney stone versus you have to be on air. My wife would say kidney stone is important, and she would be very upset. That's how much I've drank since I've been here.
It's not impressive.
That's not good.
Wait. You're not going to have this during the show.
Oh, I might. So, guys, you might need to be ready. No, because if I drink it right now during the next break, I might have to go use the, But
this is good radio, all right.
TMI. Speaking of that, well, we won't even get into the kidney stone and then trying to. You have to strain that thing, right? And all that right now. That is just out of control. But we won't get into. We'll get into.
Squeamish, so.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna get into back. If you, like I said, if you haven't been listening, and just tuning in now to Facebook or YouTube or BrightRadio.org, go back and listen to all of the segments. Been a great show. I have two founders. I'm going to say founders, acting director.
Yeah, I like.
And then what was your title? If he's acting director, what are you?
I guess I'm the vice president, the co-director.
Co-director.
Acting director.
Co-acting director. Are you making up these titles?
We're making up
as we go along.
Right. Okay. So
I do like founders better.
Right.
Yeah,
so
it's easier to remember.
Is actually, and I actually went on to their website and. It's Founder on the website, and it's so much easier. Founder, you guys are both be coaches, and we were talking about before break was it's beyond coaching, it's beyond football, which that's what I like. It's you're really teaching these middle schoolers, eventually high schoolers, to be men and citizens for us. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciate that. And we were talking about the spiritual aspect.
Right.
And I had said, because I'm a public school teacher, I know you are also, Brian, and where we've got fine lines that we can walk.
That's right.
That's a good way of saying it. And I know that, how is that on the football field? Is it the same thing, or is it okay if all of a sudden, right before coin toss, you guys all pray, or is that also a fine line, or do you just... Who cares?
Well, I think that's it. Who cares? It's kind of the way I look at it is that we're really excited to, to be really build relationships with the kids through Christ, and I think that's really exciting piece of our program is that, we are going to take the opportunity to thank God for allowing us to play this amazing sport, allowing the kids to be on that field, and there's many people not as fortunate, and I think. To help the kids understand that we've been blessed, you've been blessed with the skills and the attitude and desire to be on a football field, and we got to thank someone for that, and and I think that's the exciting piece, and I don't know if Spencer wants to add a little bit to that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and especially the world we're living in now. God's less and less a part of society.
Right. Absolutely.
No, you're right. And have you thought about just starting a documentary just to see where this goes? So it could be like a modern, real version of like Facing the Giants, or
that's actually...
I do know Emmy Award winner cameraman.
Oh, really? Yeah, absolutely. That's a brilliant idea.
That would be. We haven't gotten to that point.
Okay, so since I gave the idea,
yes, we'll give you credit.
Okay, once again at the end of the
you
the
can
documentary.
start filming next week.
Our biggest thing, Marty, this year is players.
Gotcha.
We need, the big thing is just being on your show and just getting the word out to people. Hey, we're here. Come find us. I think if we could get the word out to people, I think they'll like what we have for them.
Well, the other thing I want to mention is that the men assembled have, if people go to the website, they have amazing backgrounds.
What is the website? Give it to us.
So it's hcwarriors.org.
Oh, that's easy to remember.
Yep, hcwarriors.org. And I think if you look at the background of the men involved in this, it's stunning to think about. One of our leaders, Alan Fleming, or founders, he actually is in the Howard County Football Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Yeah, because of what his dedication and passion for youth has been in the Howard County area. And Spencer has an amazing background, so is Will Washington and Lester McCrae. They all have really amazing backgrounds, and I think as a parent, if I was to go to the site and look at that and say, wow, that's what I want my child to be part of, because they're they're going to leave an impression. And I think, and Spencer, I'll let Spencer bring the part about we really build a family atmosphere. And what we all have been successful with is having our players return to us. As not, it doesn't matter what our records are, but the families and the players trust us and believe in us and believe in the program enough over our past years that they've come back. And I'll let Spencer.
I think, you know what, to me, that's what, I hear a lot of talk, we've heard a lot of talk about concussions lately and in the news, and maybe kids shouldn't play, and a lot of people have asked me about that. And first of all, I would never tell a parent, what you should do. I think you need to find all the facts out yourself. But I guess I look at it, football teaches so many things, and I think it is a family atmosphere. And I've played a lot of sports. I played basketball, I've played soccer, all kinds of sports, coached all different sports. But there's something about football and being together as a family. It's hard to explain. If you haven't done it, it's just really hard to explain. But they are like family. And I think safety, to me, is a big thing. I mean, safety, I get worried. I remember one year a player fell in my arms, and he just said, "I can't breathe," and he passed out. It turned out he had a concussion. But that was an experience I'm never going to forget. I still get chills when I think about it. So one of the things that I've done is find different ways to make football safer. And one thing is I've learned, don't hit in practice. You don't hit in practice after the first month or so. You still try to tackle. You practice tackling every practice, but you use bags. And you teach the form tackling. You teach the correct tackling. And one thing, the NFL has done a great thing with heads-up tackling. But there's actually an even better way of tackling that has recently come out for the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll has a video, and he teaches rugby-style tackling.
I was about to ask you about that whole concept.
We went to this 2 years ago, and I don't think we've had any concussions. I may be wrong. I just can't remember. But and I've heard the Seattle, it's been really good for them. What it does, it keeps the head out of the tackle. It's a very safe way to tackle. Keeps the head out of the tackle, and it's also safe if you do it the right way. And that's the thing, you have to have the good coaches like we do to teach it the right way, that you can make an effective tackle and you're not going to hurt the other players. Because I've played some teams, and I know Brian's played some teams over the years that they're not tackling correctly, and it's dangerous not only for our players, it's dangerous for their players. They're coming diving head first into the legs, and they're definitely not technically sound.
And how do you as coaches deal with that? I mean, have you ever thought like the team is so crazy that I'm forfeiting this? I'd rather forfeit rather than safety. Has it ever gotten to that point?
There's been times, at least on my, I remember there's been a couple times that we've almost done it, but usually the referee will take charge. We usually have pretty good referees, and they'll take charge of that type of thing. But I remember a particular scrimmage that we just stopped because it was getting out of hand. And it wasn't that, let me say this, it wasn't that the coach was bad, it wasn't that the kids were bad, it was just they weren't being taught properly.
Right, and what I keep hearing is, with you guys and going on the website, and actually I went on the website too, you talk about safety, you talk about what you just, football's going to come. I think what your passion here is to teach these, football is, it's going to come there. It's the second piece.
It's the mechanism. It's like it's a tool,
right,
for that we can use. It's kind of, but the faith piece, the family piece, that's really our focus. We want to be different, and we want parents and folks to know that we are different. We are not the typical rec football program, that we're going to really, our goal is to really make a difference in the lives of these kids, and not just, say, okay, you won a football game, you're the greatest running back on earth, whatever. It's really, it goes beyond, those winning a football game. It's that much. And the five of us share that vision. And that's what excites me so much about it, is that, we all understand that football is just a tool. It is what we do with that tool to help change these kids' lives, as well as their families too. In our lives too. I think this is going to really impact us and grow us as Christians. Absolutely. I'm really excited.
I would think so, because you all would have to, be very strong in your faith to then, lack of a better word, do these small groups that you basically are going to be doing. If you missed last segment, this third practice is really going to be a small group mentoring
character building.
Kind of like a Bible study.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So we're really excited about that piece. And, the other thing we talk about is that we got to maintain our mission. A lot of, we don't want to be the talk group. Yeah, you talked a good game. We're going to walk the walk.
Wow.
And that's really, I told the guys, we're not going to do this if we're not going to walk the walk. We have to do these things because that's going to make a difference. And so that's what it's kind of exciting.
And, I've seen so many kids over the years, their whole life is based on whether the sport.
No,
it's
you're right.
based on succeeding, is based on winning, is based. I mean, we all want to win. I mean, we all, you should do your best in whatever you do. But you know what? Everybody's going to lose in life. I mean, look at the Golden State Warriors right now. They
haven't lost yet.
They
Come
haven't
on.
lost yet.
Just one more night.
But nobody expected this,
Right.
And people are criticizing them. Joe Gibbs, who again is my favorite all-time coach, and Christian, and being in the Washington area and following him and hearing him talk about God on the air, definitely an inspiration. Well, I mean, I don't know. I just think that.
No, you're right. I know what you're saying because Joe Gibbs in his book and stuff would say one of the best accomplishments was seeing his players become Christian.
Right.
And and actually, if you look at those teams, you've got people in this area
Art
that are
Monk,
still
Charles Mann,
elders and very much
Monty
involved.
Coleman, you could just go down the list.
Exactly, that are just that have done that, and I think he would say that, and I
Right.
know he said that in his book. And I hear what you're saying, that it basically, there's more to life than what's just on that
Absolutely.
field.
Right.
And I think, and I think that's where a lot of these parents, it's awesome that you're going to be mentoring some of these parents too, to just let them know that there's something else, because I think that's why they get so crazy, that
Right.
they realize this is their ticket, and if
Right.
if their child's ticket isn't working, then my life's terrible too.
You could
Well,
get
yeah,
hurt.
good.
You could get hurt tomorrow, and it's over.
Exactly.
Right.
So I know you mentioned middle school, and we're everywhere, as in the sense of, what age is middle school? Is it 6? What age actually can you have kids?
So we're looking for kids from between 12 and 14.
Okay.
So 14 is the cutoff age. They have to be 14 or younger prior to August 1st. But, we're looking for basically 7th and 8th grade students, some 9th grade students, and hopefully after this year, because we're going to do some amazing things, we're going to expand our program to all age groups. And that way we can impact a lot more lives. So we're excited. But currently we're looking for 12, 13, 14-year-olds.
Yeah, we could use a lot of prayers, and we know that we have a lot of people listening right now that, if you could pray for us, pray for the organization, and pray that we get enough players this year to start that journey.
How many players are you looking at that you would need to really just get a...
We need 16 to field a team, but ideally, 20, I would guess.
Right, 20. And then last two questions. One is there a weight limit? Because lots of times there are in these.
No, it's actually this. So that's another unique thing to this program is it's unlimited weight at any position. So what happens is, so any kid can play now, and they can play in many leagues. The limit, if you're too heavy, you only play line. Well, in this league, you're allowed to play any position as long as you have the skills to play that position, and so that's kind of exciting.
And is it only for males or boys?
That's funny
That's
you
great.
asked
That's a
that.
good question.
Why is that funny? Why didn't you say that was a great
Well, no,
question
it
rather than a
is. You know
funny
what?
I just
question?
did.
I guess everybody just says funny, but
Right,
it was a great question,
Thank
Marty.
you.
We were at Bridgeway Church a few Wednesdays back, and a girl came up to us, and she was fit the age, and she said, "Can girls play?" And I said, "If you're okay with your parents,
Awesome.
That's
you
right.
can play."
Absolutely.
Good.
Anyone.
Good. Right. Okay. Good.
She hasn't signed up yet, though.
Well, no, but I mean, we'll pray about it and see. And speaking of prayer, I want to pray right now for you guys, and that the Lord will. Lord's hands in this. It'll happen. What you guys just need to do, I know, is have faith.
Yeah,
and I know because lots of times, like me, we get down to a deadline and we only have 15, we panic and stuff. But God's got this.
Yeah, they're keeping me together. I'm the impatient one.
I understand.
I got to remember, in his time, in his time, in his time.
You're right. You're right. And who's to say that it was just you guys trying to mold it this year, and it's really in his time?
You don't know. Exactly.
You don't
That's
know.
right. That's right.
So let's pray. Dear Lord, thank you again for life. Thank you again for these gentlemen that have stepped up to the plate to realize that it's more than just football. It's about modeling Christian beliefs and just loving and unconditional love that you showed us. And boy, if we could just get a whole generation to have unconditional love, how this world would be so much better. Lord, I want to just be a little selfish right now and pray that, Lord, you pass this kidney stone, because I know you can. And Lord, you know it's painful. And yes, I'm feeling the evils of sin in this. And Lord, I just need this to pass so I can go back to teaching and being a mentor to these children, just like these gentlemen will be for these players that they need. Lord, I want to pray on a family right now that's listening that is impressed to go to their website to register their child. Thank you again, Lord. We love you and can't wait to heaven, where we can just party all the time with you and not have to worry about Memorial Day anymore, because we'll all be there in heaven. Thank you again, Jesus. We love you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. You've been listening to the Marty and Katina Show on BRITE Radio. Thank you guys for coming.
Absolutely. Anytime.
And if for some reason you missed it, go on to our website, BRITEradio.org, and we will have all the details about the Howard County Warriors. The website was hcwarriors.org. You've been listening to the Marty and Katina Show on BRITE Radio.
Clear on radio, guys. Still live on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's a throwback.
This is Marty from the Marty and Katina Show. Katina, tell us what BRITE stands for.
It means bringing right inspiration to everyone.
BRITE. BRITE.
BRITE Radio would like to take this time to thank you, our listening family. Your generous support of programming on BRITE Radio makes the Marty and Katina Show a possibility. To make your